say this about Brian, because I know he won't say this about himself. I know he grew up in the Maryland area, was obviously a very good high school player, ended up going to Hopkins, played in 4 national championships, was fortunate to win one. Yeah. I know he loved, he's passionate about coaching, was coaching high school, boys Latin, coaching youth, or maybe it was several, and he'll tell us more about his story. But loved coaching, but also was a business guy, and for over 20 years had a successful mortgage business and other businesses, but there was something in his heart that just kept calling him back to coaching, and I'm interested to learn more about that. I know he became the volunteer assistant at the University of North Carolina 8 years ago. Volunteer assistant means you don't get paid, you're a volunteer. He had a wife and 3 incredible kids, but he took a big monster risk and went for it. And last year was a part of the coaching staff that won the men's Division I national championship. So he's won a national championship as a player, as a coach, and now he's been blessed with the unique honor to be the head coach at the University of Utah.
Yeah, baby.
And, so Brian, welcome, thank you. I'll just say, if you have an opening comment, then I'm going to ask some questions that will be fun and interesting, okay? So, Brian.
Frank, thank you so much. Honestly, it's just God's grace to be here with all of you, and I appreciate this opportunity. Frank and I have talked about so many things over the years of how I can be more involved and to help, and this is the first step with FCA, along the road, and I hope will continue to grow. I want to say 2 quick things. One, something funny, because it's always nice to open up, with something funny. And so I went to the restroom around the corner here right before we started. That's always a good idea before you speak. And I got in the restroom and I went, did what I had to do, and I go to open the door, and the door's kind of jammed a little bit. So I got to tell you a story. So I go to Utah. I've been blessed, and you'll hear a little bit more about this later, to have this wonderful opportunity that I hopefully will be able to change the face of lacrosse on the men's side for a greater good. And I have an opportunity when I get out there to bring in some kids that I have seen over the course of time through North Carolina or whatever, but a very limited group. And right now Utah's a club team. It's the MCLA. These 3 kids are all Division I caliber players. And I got on the phone with them early, and I asked them if they would be willing to take a chance and come out to see Utah. 2 of them from Utah, 1 of them's from out of state. All 3 of them said yes. So I'm so excited. I get my first chance to have like an official, like a recruiting visit, and I get the parents to come in. There's 9 people, and we meet in front of the gym. And I said, before we get started on this tour, I got one more run in. Anybody need to go to the restroom? And no. So I run in the gym, and I don't know Utah. I've been there for 3 days. I literally don't know Utah at all. I run into the gym. I take a look at the door. There's a bathroom right there, and it says, "Do not enter." Right? So being a head coach, you just ignore all rules and go ahead and enter. So I push the door, and it's open. I say, "Great, go in." So I come out, and it's one of these rooms where this door swings this way and this one swings this way. So I go out the door, and it's locked. And I go push the other door, and it's locked. All right? We're in a room full of gods, right? And this is a true story. So I have 3 of recruits and their parents standing outside, and I'm like, what do I do? Right? So I got my phone in my back pocket, so I call the one recruit that I know the best, and I get him. He answers the phone. He's like, "Coach?" I'm like, "Aaron, it's Coach Holman." He said, "Yeah, I know it's you, Coach. What?" I said, "Just do me a favor. Walk in the gym, go to the left, push the door. I'm in the bathroom." And he said, "Coach, what?" I said, "Aaron, just do me a favor. Walk in the first bathroom on the left, push the door, open it up." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll be right." Click. He comes in, opens up, lets me out. So there's my first official recruiting visit at the University of Utah. So humility's a wonderful thing. Humility's a wonderful thing. And we all should take a good dose of it on a regular basis. So the second thing I'd like to say, Frank, again, beyond thank you and beyond having all these people in the room, so blessed, is just hearing from the 2 men that were up here prior to you. I have relationships with both. Andy, in my mind, is one of, if not the best coach, high school coach in the country. Huggy and I have known each other for a long time, probably not as personal as we would both like, but we've crossed each other's paths on numerous occasions. And I don't think there's a better person in the world of lacrosse to lead young men, especially in this world in Baltimore in the MIAA. They're not easy waters to navigate. And I think the class and the dignity and the way he handles himself and his program speak volumes about Andy. So I'm just blessed to be able to share this moment with you. And Hilgy's unbelievable. Brian and I have a different relationship. I was fortunate enough to coach Brian's older brother, Brendan Butchie Kelly, in 1989, 87 through 89 at Johns Hopkins University. I was an assistant coach from 85 to 90 there. And we won a national championship in 87, and we lost to Syracuse. And a lot of people talk about one of the greater games and kind of the forefront of the Final Four in 1989, 13 and 12. And Butchie I had a much closer relationship, obviously, with Butch. I'll tell you a quick story about Butch. Butch was a captain, 5 foot. How tall are you? 5'7". He's a little bit taller than you, 5'8", 5'9". Just a tough dude, man. He could play left, right. He was scrappy. He was quick. Had a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and just a really energetic person to captain our team. But he had one fault, and the fault with Butch is that right before we would go out, Coach Zim would be up in front of everybody giving a big talk, pep talk. Donnie was awesome at getting his team riled up. And there's Butch walking over to the corner, throwing up in the trash can. Like every game. So it used to drive me crazy, drove Zim crazy, but he'd go out and score 3 goals and you'd forget about it. So we're all good. But I remember Brian, I was being a Blue Jay, was part of the program, but wasn't coaching at the time. And I remember Brian just being out in the field, and I remember him having to go away and then come back again. And just to hear that testimony straight to my heart, tears in my eyes, to hear about a story of what our God is capable of, and to turn a life around, and then to go out and affect and impact, 40 young men every day. God bless you, Brian, and that's an awesome story, and I'm so thankful that God came in your life that way, because your impact is going to be forever. So it was awesome to hear your story as well. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be up here and to be able to share this stage with a man that I respect so much, with a lot of people in this room that hopefully your hearts are leading you towards God, because that's the only way. Quick story over Christmas. I'm sorry.
No, you're doing great, man. Just answer my questions. It's all telling.
Quick story over Christmas. We were sitting around a table. We just moved to Utah. We just bought a new house, and we had the whole family there. My daughter Sydney's a senior at UNC. She came out, and my oldest son Matthew's here today. He's a Baltimorean through and through, so he's back here in Baltimore. And Marcus, and I'm blessed, Marcus, my middle son, he's out in Utah with me in coaching at the University of Utah. So talking about God's grace, I mean, to be able to be on the sidelines with your son, it's irreplaceable. So we're sitting around a table, and we're having a great Christmas Eve or day dinner, I think it was day, and we start talking about God and impacting his life, and talking about church and who's going and who's not, and where are you in your faith, and this, that, and the other. And as all of us are, we're all on a different path, we're all on a different journey, and we all feel there's a connection there. And some of us are really pushing hard to move towards the light, as Brian indicated, and some of us are here, and some of us are in darkness. And that happens all through your life, and it happens at various stages. And there's no quick fix, there's no instant cure. But as we were talking about this, I just felt compelled to talk to my kids and just say, listen, there is no other alternative. There's no other way. You may think there is. I was fortunate enough in the business world. One time I was making well over $1 million a year. I was a poor kid, grew up in southern Anne Arundel County. We didn't have a dime growing up. 5 kids, we rented a house, we slept on the floor, we couldn't pay for heat. This is the true story. My mother had to work 2 jobs. My father left when I was 9 years old. Father was very abusive. He was an alcoholic. Abused my mother, abused the kids, abused our family. God came into my life. God saved me from that abuse. God was the only refuge. God was the way out. Move fast forward, go through different areas in life, and I told these guys this. I was, making millions of dollars. My company basically got stolen from me. I show up to work one day, the company that I sold my business to had police officers at the door. We had 164 employees. It took 15 years to build it. Walked into the door, they had police officers. Who are you? I'm the owner of this business. No, you're not. You have to leave the premises. Gone. My business was gone. All right, overnight. How do I get out of it? Where's my refuge? God, help me through this. God, how do I get through this? How do I tell my wife we don't have a business anymore? 4 years in a lawsuit, suing one of the major corporations in this country. I won't name names. They banned me from working in the mortgage business. I spent 4 years and millions of dollars suing. Didn't get a penny out of it, a little bit. Bottom line is we won every single case that we attempted to in the court. The lawyers took it all. Any lawyers in this room? God bless you, all right? All right, you earned every penny of it, all right? How do we get through that? God. I attend church, try to, on a daily basis. 90% of the time, I'm faithful. I don't go to church asking. I go to church thanking. I go to church spending my time an hour with the Lord. Just if that's all I can give him every day, all right, God, you know, what more can we give you? You give us everything. You give us light. You give us hope. You give us prayer. You give us relationships. You give us friends. You give us tragedies. All right, all those things are part of God's plan. You know, fast forward, you know, and again, Frank, I'm sorry.
No, you're doing great.
All right,
That's
okay.
one of the questions I was going to ask you. Tell me about your youth. Tell me about high school. Tell me about your
And you know, and I was blessed. I grew up in this town, and then lacrosse was my way out. I played baseball all the way up to 9th grade. Couldn't hit a curveball. We had a really good baseball team at Southern High School. Coach said, you know, your brother plays lacrosse. Maybe you want to go down to that field and play as well. I said, sure, I'll do that. Right? I was a good catcher, though, but I couldn't hit a curveball, so you're out. Started playing lacrosse. I had a gentleman at Southern High School. His name was Dick Keck. He was from Huntington, Long Island. He said, man, I think you got a future in this thing, but it isn't going to be at Southern High School. Half of the school was black, half of the school was white. Most of the kids graduated. 80% of our school went on to the military. He said, Brian, I think you have great things in your life. He was a religious man. He was the first guy that actually talked openly in front of me about God and about the impact that it had in his life. All right, that sounds good. I'll follow you. All right, God led me out of misery at 9 and 10 and 11 years old. All right, God led me to you. Now you're going to lead me somewhere else. And through the grace of God, I got into Severn School. Severn School. All right, drove up first day, never forget it. I was born and raised in the southern part of Anne Arundel County. Redneck, red. That song, what's his name? Sing that song. You guys know what I'm talking about. Come on, man. You know who's
Blake Shelton.
Blake Shelton. That red redneck song. I love that song. Like that's my heritage. We were rednecks, right? I drive to Severn School. Hilgy knows Severn School, right, Hilgy? There ain't no rednecks in Severn School. All right. I showed up the first day. I had a tie. I never tied a tie before. Never wore a tie. I had to wear a tie to Severn. It was as big as my neck. Right? It came up right here. All right. So humility, scared to death. It was an hour and 15-minute drive each way from my home. And God led me to Severn School. I walked into class on the first day. I was a horrible math student. I failed geometry twice. So boys, if you're struggling in math, there is hope for you guys. I promise you there's hope. All right? Pray a little bit more and study a little bit more. They go hand in hand. Okay? So I go into class and they put me in an 8th grade algebra class. 8th grade algebra class. Right? I was technically a junior in high school. They moved me back a half year. I transferred midway through 10th and a half grade, whatever that is, sophomore and a half. And I'm in an 8th grade class. I walk in, it's, you know, the chairs and the desk are kind of small. My knees are all buckled up against them. I'm sitting next to an 8th grader. I'm shaving, you know, I'm driving, right? Like, God, what are you doing to me? I can't survive here. I'm never going to last here. I'm never going to make it. I prayed so hard on an hour and 15-minute drive back to Southern Anne Arundel County. Please, God, help me through this. This is embarrassing. You know, 2 people came into my life. A lot of people came into my life through Severn. 2 people that had an impact. One, I met my best friend. So where's God's plan, right? Taking me out of this area and put me in this area that was so foreign and so unlike anything that I am about. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want anything to do with these kids. They were rich, most of them. They drove nice cars. They lived in huge houses. It was so intimidating to the point where I didn't know who I was. Like, who am I? Just a lacrosse player or whatever. I met my best friend, Stuart Keeney. He's my best friend today. All right? Took me around the school that day. Said, listen, you don't mind, you want to come down to my house? And we walked down around Bay, walked from school. His house was in Sort of Park, beautiful school house. His father was a banker. His father actually started, how many guys in this room from Baltimore, the Harvey Wall Banker? Anybody ever remember that? Right? Bob Keeney started the Harvey Wall Banker. It was the first drive-through where you could get cash out, right? So they lived in a gorgeous home. Stu took me out of his bedroom. His bedroom was as big, honest, my right-handed guy, was as big as 3/4 of our house. His bedroom. His bedroom. He had a bathroom, 2 closets, master bed. It was huge. I'm like, this is your bedroom? Like yeah. And he had 4 other siblings, so they all had their own room. Okay? Opens the door. Never forget this. These are the things in life, right? That mean so much. They should mean so much because they're God's plan. It looks at, it's got a tie rack. He's got a tie rack. Yellow, you know, that's the preppy ties, the yellow and the red and the pink and the blue. He says, listen, you know, do you have ties? I didn't have any ties. And so he gave me one. And he actually showed me how to tie it. That's a friend. And he's a friend for life. That's God's plan, in fact. That's God's plan. So I know I'm taking off here, Frank. I'm just trying to talk off in my head and about. So you know, you fast forward and you leave Severn, and I was blessed to go to Johns Hopkins University. Not for a moment did I ever think I would ever get in there. And to this day, thank God, I don't know how I got in there. I don't know. And I don't know how I got out of it. And I graduated on time. So we got two things in common, God and that, right? And I graduated. And you know, again, looking back, you know, I wanted to go to Maryland so bad. I had a full scholarship. I was recruited by 3 schools: University of North Carolina, University of Maryland, and Johns Hopkins University. And I wanted to go to Maryland so bad. I grew up watching the Terps play in the 70s, right? Frank Urso, Roger Tuck, Eddie Mullen, Mike Farrell, right? Artie Seecamp. These dudes were real. They came out in all white uniforms, and they had long hair flowing out of the back, and they had red sticks, and they ran up and down the field like nobody's business, snapping behind the backs before the Gate brothers were ever around. And they were pumping 15, 16, 18 goals a game. Used to go to those games. I was mesmerized by the way they played. Got a full scholarship offer to Maryland. Came down to Tom Sears and I to go to North Carolina. I hesitated. Searsy accepted. We battled each other in 2 national championships. All right, we are great friends here today. And Johns Hopkins. I'll never get into Hopkins. I'm not worried about it. I get a phone call. Maryland's pressing me. I get a phone call from Henry Ciccarone one night. He's like, Brian, I got some great news. What's that, Coach? We got you in. And I literally did it. I remember standing in the kitchen. I had 4 older brothers were sitting around the table, sitting there like this and going, I just got in Hopkins. I was like, right? They're like, no way. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And to a man, they're like, you're going. You're going. So I said, Coach, I'm in. If you'll have me, I'm in. So I go to Hopkins. Frank mentioned it. Played 4 national championships. I think we lost 6 games, 7 games in 4 years that I was there. All right, you know, just an unbelievable run. 3 national championships lost. I was a starter in those 3 by 4 goals total. By 4 goals total. All right. At that point in time in your life, my senior year, we lose to Syracuse, 17-16. Began Syracuse's run, 1983, of like 20-some Final Fours. We were winning 12-5 with 8 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. We were winning 12-5. We lost 17-16. Devastation, right, boys? Total devastation, right? Your life is ruined. You are a loser. You are a loser. 3 national championships, lose by 4 goals. I'm a loser. That's how I felt. Honestly, how I felt. God, how could you do this? How could this happen? Where are you? Where are you? And those are the conversations that I have and still have every day in my life. Every day. Every day. I wake up in the morning, and any of you coaches that are out there that don't have this, please find a copy. This is your manual for coaching. This is my manual for life. This is the Bible. I heard it mentioned here earlier today. Everything that you need to know about life, everything that you're seeking, everything that you're confused about, everything that you're wondering is here. It's all in here. I started reading the Bible on a regular basis when I got to the University of North Carolina. All right, I met a gentleman named Mike Exenkamp, who Frank knows very well, and his brother Brian knows extremely well. Mike's been in Carolina now for, God bless his heart,
At least 30 years.
30-some years.
Yeah, 30 years.
Introduced me to the Bible. Up until that point, my faith was strong. Like I said, I attended Mass every day. I tried to. I believe wholeheartedly that there is a God, and I believe wholeheartedly that He had a plan. But I never studied the Bible. I never read the Bible. I didn't understand the Bible. It was part of that whole Catholic. We have a lot in common growing up in the Catholic Church. You go there some Sundays, and it's like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff going on. Kneeling. I think what's his name has a comic part about this. Larry the Cable Guy, about kneeling and standing up and kneeling and standing up and all that. And you fall into that. You really just don't know what's going on. And until I started reading the Bible on a daily basis, and still I started learning actually what the words of our God, all right, through our Savior, Jesus Christ, had to say, that my life completely changed. And I have to say, up until that time, I was a good Catholic. I believe totally in my heart right now I'm trying to be the best Christian I could possibly be. What led me to North Carolina? You know, and again, Frank, I'm sorry, I'm probably
Every
we'll
question,
get there.
this is incredible.
Good.
Seriously, these are my questions. He's answering.
What led me to North Carolina was simple. You know, I've been blessed. Huggy, you said you've been married a long time. Go ahead, throw the number out for me.
Come on, take it.
Pardon me?
16.
That ain't a long time. All right. All right. I know I had you on that one. All right. I'm pushing 30. All right. I think by most of our terms in here, that's a relatively long time. All right. And I'm blessed. All right, because the blessing that came to my life with my wife changed my life as well. She helped me be a better human being. You know, she was my partner, and we're searching for that. And through God, through our faith, through together in faith, and I recommend that wholeheartedly to anybody in here that's walking on a path by themselves. Wherever 2 or 3 of us are gathered, therefore there I am. And he's in this room wholeheartedly. You can feel the presence in this room. If you can walk with your wife in faith, I recommend it highly. It's a strong, strong, strong conviction. It helps with the kids. It helps with the trials and tribulations of marriage, which we all know come on us on a regular basis. The only way through it is God. It's not going out and hanging out with your friends and drinking beers and, you know, I need a night out with the boys and all that. Yeah, that's true. We all do need a little bit of separation, but that's not going to show you the light. God will show you the light with your wife. And I'm so blessed to be able to share my faith with someone that loves me so much and loves God as much. So what led me to Carolina was this calling to do what I felt in my heart was the right thing to do. I hear Brian, and again, things resonate. I don't know that whole story. All right? I was a successful businessman, went through some hard times, started another company up. We can do this. Went to work every day, my heart wasn't there. Go to church every day, my heart was there. Pray every day, and God started telling me, you need to do something else. You need to do what your heart's calling you to do. You need to do what you're happiest with. You need to be with young men. I was blessed. I've been able to coach every single year in lacrosse for 30 years now. This is my 31st year at some level. All right? And I say this today to a lot of young coaches. All right? They get into the college game, 25, 26, 27, 28. It's awesome. All right? Do yourself a favor. Take a week or 2 off of going to recruiting camps and go coach a youth league team. Go coach 6-year-olds. Go coach 8-year-olds. Go coach 9-year-olds. Go coach 10-year-olds. That's where you earn your stripes. That's where you earn your stripes. All right? It's easy for me to sit down in North Carolina and say, hey, Thomas Wood, take a couple shots. Whew! Snap them right off into the corner. Hey, Marcus Holman, show me how you dodge. I can get up to the island. I can get in. I can get out. You earn your stripes by getting with these young men every single day and figuring out how do I figure out how to get this young person to try to do the things that I'm asking him to do. So I've been blessed. I've had that period of my life. I've coached every single facet of lacrosse. 5 years old, rec league, club ball. Back then, club ball isn't what it is today. That's for sure. All right, fresh soft. I took over a fresh soft team at Boys Latin. Honestly, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. They weren't very successful. In 2 years, we were playing in a championship against Loyola. We lost. But anyhow, my championship record isn't that great. But we get there. And that was an awesome experience because they were the also-rans. You know, they were pushed aside. You know, and every facet of those coaching material places, guys, women, girls, boys, God was with me. And I professed my faith to those young men all the way through the line. I know it's a touchy subject today in the world about talking about your faith. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I talk to my team on a regular basis about faith. As a matter of fact, part of our pillars at the University of Utah on our second page, after humility, after gratitude, after passion, after trust, all right, is a second page. And that page starts with faith. And these are things that we, as coaches at Utah, want to develop our players to have and to be. And it's a daily development. First is faith. It's number one. We are going to develop faith amongst each other and amongst the team. We'll share stories. We've had multiple meetings with our team about guys standing up in the room, sharing their faith openly with their teammates. It's powerful. It's powerful. There's no greater power. There's no greater glory than God's glory in a room full of young men or young women or people like this right now. There's no more power anywhere in this Lacrosse Convention than there is in this room. All right? That isn't because we're favored. It's just because of our faith. It's our faith in our God. It's our faith in our Jesus. It's our faith in our Lord. All right? Because through that faith, all things are possible. All things will be accomplished. Not on your time, though. all right? And this is something that I've learned. It's not my time. It's not my time. It's his time. This is something that's a viable lesson to all young adults, all young kids, all parents growing, raising their kids. It's not your time. It's God's time. When your faith becomes so ingrained in him that you allow him to maneuver and manipulate and push and prod and change and cultivate you, then your faith is strong. All right? I've always wanted to be a head coach. I'm 56 years old of a college program. All right? I feel a little bit like Moses. Okay? All right? Everybody know Moses, right? How old was Moses when God said, hey, let's go? Whose phone is that? That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. How old? Does anybody know? Venture to guess? Raise your hand. Cooper.
Over 100.
No. When God tapped Moses, go ahead.
70?
He was in his 80s, right? He was in his 80s. All right? God tapped Moses on the shoulder and said, you will take your people, my people, out of Egypt. And Moses was like, no, I'm old, man. I can't do this. Yes, you will. Show me a sign, God. Show me a sign. And he did. Does anybody know what kind of sign? Does anybody know what the sign was? About the snake, the cross, right? The stick. There was a snake on the ground, right? Carol knows it. Go ahead. That's right. It became his staff. Okay? There was a snake on the ground. God said, look, I'll show you. Right? Go ahead. Tell me.
Pick up the snake.
Pick it up, right?
Yeah, a poisonous snake.
Yeah. Who's going to pick up a snake, right? Faith. Faith. I picked up a snake in Utah. I picked up a snake, honestly. Jump off that cliff one more time, all right? Pick it up, staff, right? And the top of it was the snake.
And it saved the people when they got bit.
Exactly. Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Julie Zelly.
Awesome, Julie. Thank you very much. That's awesome. All right? So those are the lessons, right? Those are the lessons. That's why we read the Bible. Those are the lessons in there for all of us. For all of us in there. Every day I can learn something just a little bit different about what he's trying to send me, what messages. Most of my coaching right now is done after an hour of reading in the morning in the Bible. There's messages that just get popped right into my head. Thank God. Some days there aren't as clear, and that's okay. We can go by the script. But most days there are messages that I want to continue to convey and deliver to our team and help them become better people. Because ultimately that's what we're all called to do as coaches here. Everybody that's in here, raise your hand if you are a coach at some level. All right? It's awesome. All right? Ultimately, all we're called to do is hopefully profess our faith, show them a light, and make them better people. Some way, somehow, some way, somehow, some way, somehow. Has nothing to do with wins and losses. Has nothing to do with your club record. Has nothing to do with your record at all. You base your life as a coach on those wins and losses, you'll be crushed. As a 19 and a 20 and a 20-year-old young man, I was crushed. I go down in history as a goalie at Johns Hopkins losing 3 national championships. Brian knows the pressure that's at Hopkins. He knows. He gets it. All right? That could crush people. No. God. My faith is in God. I was just blessed to be able to be there. I mean, think about it. What the heck right did I have to even be on that field? None. Zero. So it's God. So flash forward to North Carolina. I have a great story for you. And again, I apologize for talking like this. I just want to share some of this stuff with you. Hopefully it helps. It also helps me too, to be honest with you, to bring this stuff to light. Don Zimmerman, great friend of mine. 2? Awesome. All right? That was like television, right? Director Frank. I got you. As Jim Valvano would say, you know. I'm good right now. I'm good. I'm not dying. I do have pneumonia, but I'm not dying, so I'm good. I get a call from Don Zimmerman after Coach Hall has moved on from Carolina, and Zim said to me, Brian, I think I'm going to apply for North Carolina. I really want you to go. I know you're interested in getting back into college. I said, Zim, anything you want. I'm one of the greatest coaches in the game. God bless him, man. He's awesome. So 3 weeks later, I get a call. Never forget it, sitting on the front porch of my house, and Zim. I'm thinking, all right, he got the job. Here we go. All right. Zim said, Coach, got some bad news. I'm not going to apply for the job. My wife, Dottie, doesn't want to leave Baltimore. And I have to respect her wishes, so we're not going to apply. Devastated. I have no job right now. I have no job. I'm out of work. My wife is in Baltimore. I had 2 houses to sell. had no income. My life savings, gone in 3 days. So I'm on my knees praying, I'm like, God, you put me here. You gotta take me out, some way, somehow. All right, flash forward 9 years, we built a business. Joe, Coach Bresci and I, we see over 1,500 kids. All right, I sold a house, had enough money to get us to North Carolina. My wife had to go to work. She did that. And we won a national championship, and life is good. And I had the blessing of being able to coach one of my sons, 2 of my sons. And I had the blessing of being able to have my daughter play at the University of North Carolina as well. So what I'm telling you, all in all, money, out. Booze, out. Drugs, out. Girls, guys, you know, all the stuff on the internet, out. Trials and tribulations, yes, bring them on. Bring them on. I think that's something young men young women, I'm sorry, don't appreciate as much. Everybody wants a quick fix. Everybody wants a way out. He had to go through 20 some odd years of darkness to find a light. All right? That light now shines so bright that none of those years matter. And he probably thanks God for them every day. Every day. All right? So welcome the problems. Welcome the gifts. Welcome the people from foreign countries. Welcome the young men and young women in your lives every day that come. Thank God that you have them. Because all that other stuff doesn't matter. I've seen it all. Sat at a table and drank a $1,000 bottle of wine. Whoop-de-friggin-do. Right? Whoop-de-do. Never, that's the way it is, right? It's all about God. So led me to North Carolina, led me to meet Frank Kelly, led me to coach the Kellys, led me to coach Thomas Wood, led me to coach these marvelous human beings. Quinn Kessick and I had a talk. He wrote an article about North Carolina. I coached Quinn. I was his coach. All right? He wrote an article about North Carolina a few years ago about, I want to use the word losers or disappointing or failures. Failures was the word. Calling us failures because we couldn't win a national championship. I took great umbrage with that word. There are no failures there. Joe Bresci certainly isn't a failure. Sean Delaney, I could go down the list. Failure in whose eyes? Not in God's eyes. Not in God's eyes. And at the end of the day, when we're all done, all right, when we're all done, all right, the greatest glory will be given to all of us. The greatest glory. Death into, say it with me, death into life. Death into life. Yes! Yes! That's eternal. This is temporal. This is temporary. This is awesome. Enjoy every minute of it. It can be taken away from you, God forbid. But you will move to a greater glory. Lacrosse game? Are you kidding me? We lose? Really? Temporal. What club team I'm playing for? What helmet am I wearing? Really? Temporal. Give God his glory that's due. Do the best in your life that you can welcome him into your life every day. His plan is the only plan. His plan is eternal. And ultimately, that's all we're searching for, is that gift, that paradise, that day that we can meet our Creator face to face. Oh my God. What a blessing. Thank you. I know I went over my time. You're good. All right, he's a tough boss, man.
Say thank you, Brian. That was one of my best interviews ever. One question. You know, we did that with Coach Bresci at the IMLCA. Just, you know, these coaches have so much going on. Brian flew in from Utah just for this. I said, we'll make it easy for you. You don't have to prepare a speech. That's why he didn't have any notes. That was 100% from his heart. Brian, I'm just going to interview you. I'm just going to ask a couple questions. It'll be easy, you know, and that was as good an interview as you're going to get.